Taylor.
And I'm Jenna Morton, and as you can tell, we are coming to you from a location again, which is always one of our favorite things to do. And this time we're doing something that's brand new for us. We are going to visit an artist and put our hands to work today. We are at the Dieppe Arts Culture Centre, and we are here with Melanie. Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Thank you. This is such a nice, bright, fun space. I'm very excited for this morning.
Oh, I'm glad to have you guys here.
Tell everyone just a little bit about you and the project that you're working on, because I know you have many other projects in your past, but this is one that we're going to focus on.
Yes, so I'm here in Dieppe because I'm the current artist in residence. I'm here for 3 months, so I'm here until the end of July with my project. So the project that I'm working on is textile based, and you guys brought me some stuff to work with too. So I'm inviting the public to come and contribute to the work that I'm doing here, which is basically a project doing some rug hooking. So I'm getting people into that, which is really fun. And I'm asking people to bring their clothes that we cut up and then add to the work that I'm working on.
I love it. So yes, clothes that you no longer want to wear because Melanie's going to make you cut them up.
Yes, so really I tell people, you decide what you want to pick. We will be cutting them up and adding it to the artwork. And the reason behind that too is that the project is looking at the clothes that we wear, what's in our closets. It's called The Water We Wear. So it's about consumerism, but really related to the fashion and textiles industry. And how much that's impacting the environment. Because it is the second top polluter worldwide, is the textiles industry. So my project is also looking at that, how much water is consumed, the impact on the environments. And what I wanted to do with this rug hooking, this piece, is to kind of create a snapshot of what is in our closets right now. So most clothes are, made quite far from where we live. So I'm recording as well where each piece has been made, and I'm recording the fibers that make up the clothes as well. So yeah, kind of a snapshot of what is in our closets and what our habits are when we're looking at the clothes that we wear.
I love this concept. I think it's going to be so interesting to see the pieces that come together and then tie it into that kind of, I think a lot of us have in our backgrounds of our grandparents or great-grandparents maybe now, of people who did rug hooking and things like this as a way to reuse materials and keep them going. I'm really excited because I've done rug hooking with yarn, but not with fabric.
Okay.
So
good.
I'm like, how does this even work? So walk us through a little bit of how we're going to do this.
Okay. So almost anything can be used for rug hooking. I know people are used to yarn, but then almost any type of clothing can be used as well. So we're cutting the cloth into long strips.
So I'm going to pull an example out of here?
That is going to act the same way as if you had yarn with you. And each fabric too is different. Sometimes I have really thin fabric, like t-shirt material, or you can even do jeans. I had corduroy yesterday that we used as well. So it adds a lot of different textures to the surface, which is really fun. So almost anything really can be rug hooked, which is great. We get rid of the seams just because it's hard to pull seams through it. So we're going to get, cutting on yours for sure. And essentially how I do it, I cut all the seams away just to create myself a panel of fabric, which is then easy to cut into smaller strips. Yeah.
And so I brought a shirt that had a big kapow across the front of it that I realized I wore for my children's first birthday party.
Yeah.
Which was 10 years ago. Yeah. I'm not going to wear this again. It's time for it to find a new life. And you've brought a lovely tank top, the most beautiful color.
The first Canadian piece of clothing brought in too, which is very fun.
Exactly. So at this point I've had maybe 30 people come and bring some clothes, and that is the first one that is Canadian
Awesome.
made. Yeah.
Does it matter if I hack job this, or can
It
we
doesn't
just?
matter.
I just, yeah.
It doesn't
I
matter.
attacked
and
mine.
Really doing rug hooking in the way that I do it, at least. We're not looking for any kind of perfectionism. I really let people do what they want with the area that they're working in. So it really creates a lot of texture, a lot of color too, depending on what people bring. So,
Why did you choose rug hooking for your project?
rug hooking. I wanted to choose something that would take a lot of time.
Okay.
So in my art practice, I do like techniques that take a lot of time, but as well, I wanted it to stand in contrast to how our clothes are made now. Fast fashion is now into ultra fast fashion even, which is just not a sustainable practice at all. So I wanted to slow things down and bring it back to that kind of, thinking that making things takes time, and it should take time. And then we add, there's value to that when a lot of time and care is taken into making something. So that was kind of the reason. And yeah, it does take a lot of time.
Yeah.
I'm in this for several months. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So when it comes to cutting these strips, what do we?
Yes, we can get you started.
Yeah.
Cutting the strips. So I found that with t-shirt material, the kind of easiest way is usually, what do you call that? A
I don't
rolling?
know. Rolling cut. Yeah, it looks kind of like a
Blade?
pie cutter, but obviously for fabric.
It is like a pie cutter for fabric. And then I just use my ruler as a guide. The width, it doesn't matter so much. You don't want it to be too wide that it's hard to work with, but kind of, maybe a quarter or half inch. The first one might be a bit wonky,
Okay.
but then you'll be good after that.
And then this just rolls along to cut it. I haven't used one of these.
You haven't? Okay.
No.
I'm
I'm having way too much fun.
That's what we aim for here.
It's very easy to use. We'll maybe just line you up a little bit. Depending on the fabric, the pressure might be different. So you'll see like pizza cutter kind of pressure.
We're gonna
And
give it a
then
whirl.
use your other hand just to hold the ruler
Okay.
down, but please careful of your fingers
Yes. Okay.
as you go.
And just.
And you just, yeah.
Oh, look at that.
I feel like that was not enough.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I
that,
felt that too.
that didn't feel like it was cutting through things. I'm
You're
too
gonna-
worried about my fingers.
Yeah, you're going to feel it and kind of hear it too. And then we'll see. Sometimes some t-shirts are hard to
I was
cut
gonna say, I
this
wonder
way.
if it's my very. Oh.
Is it
Nope.
happy? No.
Yeah. There's.
Oh, it's half
It's
happy.
some of it.
You're good. You're good to go. No, but
Tosh is
it's also
fine.
depending on the blade and the t-shirt. So some t-shirt fabric is sometimes
Oh, that sounded a little bit better. There we go. Maybe
you hear the crunch?
Yes.
It's like crunching through. There you go. And even if you have that going on, that's
That's
okay
just
to
part
have
of
some
the-
rips and frays is yeah.
Just adds to the texture.
It does, yeah.
All right. Let's
So
see if
you're
I can
totally
get
good.
another one here.
Yeah. And then you start to get a feel for it as you go as well.
Like that
And
big.
even if you're like ending up ripping, totally okay. That works
That's
as
good
well.
because that's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. I think I got the hang of that a little bit better now. Like
Oh,
that.
look
There
at
we
that,
go.
look at that.
Oh, almost
And sometimes
perfect.
you just have to-
Almost.
yeah.
There we go.
That is perfect.
All right. So talk a little bit more about, if someone is watching, someone's listening, they're like, oh, I really want to come in and take part. How do they come in and learn to do this themselves with you?
So since I'm here for length of time, I've put out a schedule of once a week, open studio, and then people can drop in anytime during that time. And just asking them to choose maybe one or two pieces that they might want to add to the work. And they just come in and I do exactly what like we're doing right now. I just show you how to get started. And then we sit down and do some rug hooking for whatever length of time the person wants to stay.
Okay.
Most people honestly end up staying a couple hours, but it's not necessary if you don't, have the time. You can do 5-10 minutes just to have the experience as well. And then I finish off whatever's not finished after that. So once weekly until mid-July. And my next session is Tuesday the 18th from 6 to 8.
Perfect.
In Dieppe at the same area.
And this is kind of any age that can safely be around cutting materials.
Exactly. So, teenagers, kids with good dexterity.
Good listening skills.
Exactly, and interest. Absolutely. It is a very user-friendly kind of practice. So, yes.
I think it's a great idea for, especially with summer break coming up very soon. It would be kind of a cool, neat idea for kids to get their hands on. I know my mother-in-law does a lot of rug hooking.
Okay.
Yeah, and with yarn, obviously, but this would be something cool for her to bring her granddaughters to come and show them what she's doing, and then it's more in a controlled environment as well, and they get to bring something of their own.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I have had that as well. I hear that quite a bit of
Yeah.
having a grandparent.
Yes.
Because rug cooking, it is more of a traditional kind of
Lost art, if you will.
lost art.
Yeah.
But what is really fun with this is that I get a lot of younger people coming in, they try it and they're like, oh, this is...
I feel like there
this
is a
good.
kind of resurgence right now in things like rug hooking and crocheting and
Absolutely. Anything, handmade that takes time and is also just good on the head.
Right.
You just
Yeah.
kind of release. You don't think about anything else. It's very repetitive as well. So yeah, it's kind of a good way to just.
well, and it might be a good way to kind of spark some interest and come up with a summer project for, say, a teen or a tween who's not going to go off to day camps but needs something to focus on.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a good example for this project that you can use materials that already exist. Even the burlap we're working on is recycled coffee bean bags. So you don't need to go out and buy expensive yarns or expensive materials. You can really use what you might have at home and very little cost to it as well. Yeah.
Well, we only have a short amount of time with you today, so we're going to move over
Yeah,
to
you're
the next
good.
step
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
learn what comes next
Learn
with these
what comes
scraps.
next. Yeah.
All right.
So this is the rug hooking frame. It's a Chetican style rug hooking frame that was kindly given to me to get this project on the go. So this is where we are right now, but there's more that's rolled up underneath there. It's a 7-foot tall work. So that is also why I need people to come in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it going to be on like display here when you're finished? Or is
I
that-
still don't know where it will live, just because I don't know how long yet it's going to take to get all of that done. But yes, eventually the goal is to have it displayed. So I ask people to choose a square that they want to have their clothes in and work from that. And I can fit 4 people
nice.
around this, and then I can put more people on the table because there's a second one. There's 2 of them.
Oh, wow.
To get
Great. So
done.
if you do have a couple kids or a larger group, you
Yeah,
want to come
so
with
if friends
someone.
want to come together, groups, like we
Fantastic.
have space for that.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I think I'll sit one to work in this space.
Do you want to have a seat there, Jenna?
Yeah,
Sure.
which
On the
should
way.
be kind of the right height. And then for you, you might feel comfortable reaching either there
Sure.
or here.
Here's good. Now you've got
Okay.
a pattern on here.
I do
Are we
have-
going to talk about the pattern that you've
Yeah,
designed?
there is a
I wasn't
pattern
sure if it was
there.
a secret or not.
So it's not a secret. No, I'm glad you asked. So the whole thing is divided up into a grid, and each square is one piece of clothing. But within that, there's also water drops that will be added later on. And the meaning there's 79 water drops.
Beautiful.
For the 79 trillion liters of water used each year by the textiles industry.
Wow.
Yes, so that later on will be added throughout the work.
So cool.
Excellent.
So I'm gonna each give you
Okay.
a hook. This is the rug hooking hook, which is the same as a crochet hook.
Okay.
Here you go.
It's a step up from the ones I've used in the past. These strange wooden handles that were very knobby for my hands.
So I'm going to show you quickly.
Yes,
I'll just
please.
grab a
Yeah.
chair so that I can sit next to you. And it is quite simple. You have your strip of fabric. For the first time that you're going, I kind of hold it this way underneath.
Okay.
And then I pick a hole that I want to go in. And I'm going to grab the fabric from underneath and just pull. So the first one that I'm taking out, I'm leaving a tail. So you could pull it all the way out for the first one. And and you're both good, but the only rule is to not rug hook into the water drops. So yeah, that is perfect.
Wait, you're right on the line.
I did.
There you go.
I'm anal like
I
that.
just started right in the middle of
You
the section.
can start anywhere you want within your square. And then after that, you do the same. You go maybe to the hole next to it, but then you just pull a loop and you leave the loop there. And you can
And is
see
there a certain height we're kind of...
exactly. So some people have gone a shorter height. You kind of see that here, or then you can go higher and a bit looser. It's kind of up to you what you like. The only thing I would say is to not go too short because you risk losing the loops.
Yeah. That's what I'm
So,
experiencing right at this moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I would go a bit higher than that for sure. And then that you know how to rug hook. Now.
And that's it.
Yeah, that is it. And then you just keep on going. So some fabrics you might skip a hole, or depending on how tight it gets, you don't need to really pack it really, really tight. You're just trying to cover the surface that you're working on.
I have to say, I much more enjoy working with this strip of fabric than I did learning to do this with yarn. It is,
there you go.
it is much more forgiving. I found working with yarn, the yarn is so skinny.
It is.
And trying to get it like the same height, because I learned from my mom who did it.
Okay.
And she's very good at detail things.
Yeah.
So when she rug hooks with yarn, everything is exactly like you could
Perfection.
take.
Different.
Yeah, you could take a ruler across the top of it, and she just does that by natural talent.
Yes.
I did not inherit that talent.
So I don't want you to get messages from rug hookers that are like, that's not the way to rug hook. I realize this is not the traditional rug hooking method.
No, this is such a neat way to get people involved.
Yes, and what I also like about this, it's kind of like somebody that draws, or if you're writing, everybody has a different, handwriting. Everybody rug hooks also in a different way. So I'm kind of getting those signatures from everybody.
I like this because even just sitting here, I've noticed Tosh is doing it more in this circular kind of pattern, and I'm doing it kind of straight across and
Exactly.
having trouble with it.
See, now, as an artist, you have a very different brain than I do. But having the different stuff from different people would drive me nuts.
Ooh, really?
Yes, I am the parent who couldn't handle their kids coloring outside of the lines.
Absolutely, and I encourage it.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would be like, someone would leave, and I'd be like, do, fixing their work.
Yeah.
I highly anticipate you fixing my work when I leave.
no, absolutely
and you
not.
won't. Okay.
No,
I love
won't.
that. I love that.
I won't. And like you said, it is very forgiving, I find, because, and it's like that in everything we do, right? If you focus on a small area and then you start thinking about perfectionism and you're too critical, but if you step back and look at the big picture,
Stunning.
It's stunning. So it's a practice in people kind of letting go of that idea of perfection.
That's a concept.
Yeah, I've worked years on this.
I think you need to come spend some more time here this summer, Tosh.
Yeah, and this is kind of a good practice for that. Just
Yeah.
kind of letting go. You know, it is what it is, and when everything comes together, it looks great. See, that looks great. You're doing good.
Look at us, Jenna.
Pros.
New habit for the summer.
There you go. And it is something I find that's fun because you can just pick it up, do, 5-10 minutes, and it's not a big thing to just kind of leave it to the side and get back to it later. It's not a big setup that you need to do. So I have this because I'm doing such a big project, but at home you can just use a hoop.
Right.
Any size
Start small.
hoop.
Don't start with stone feet.
No, if you have it, sure.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And you're like really committed, that's okay. But you can definitely go a lot smaller.
It makes me think of the 80s. Like growing up in the 80s and 90s, and you would get those Christmas squares.
Absolutely.
Yes, the candle, and I think I had a boot. Yeah, that's what it, do you remember those? I don't know where they Sears catalog potentially, but
I got homemade versions of
yeah,
this.
true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And I get the Sharpie out and draw your design. I can remember the smell of this fabric. I'm just like, I'm back in my childhood basement.
Yeah, it does bring a lot of memories back to people.
I would imagine.
Because for our generation, 80s, 90s, like we did so much craft.
Sure. We sure did.
It was just everybody did that.
Yeah.
But then as well, I find that for younger people, they're talking to me about their grandparents, so it does bring a lot of memory to it. Textile work always has something kind of attached memory-wise, which is really great because then people stay here a couple hours, they share whatever they want to share. And I hear all those types of stuff.
Yeah, and you're learning. Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, we do have to wrap up our time telling people about this right now. Remind them how they can come and be a part of this.
Yeah, absolutely. So once a week I have open studio sessions. It's all posted on my accounts, MélaniePaulin.art on Instagram, Facebook, and otherwise the Cultural Center in Dieppe has all the info as well. The next session is Tuesday the 18th from 6 to 8. And then until mid-July, I have open studios. So.
Amazing. Thank you.
Yes, I know.
You can turn off the screen, but we're not going anywhere.
This is fantastic. And thank you all for listening and watching along. And hopefully you'll come and add yours to this wonderful work of art. And you'll join us again next week for our last episode of the season.
That's right. We'll be having some fun, don't you worry.